CrowdStrike's flawed update brought countless systems to their knees, which wasn't enough. Now, hackers are doing their jobs to make the situation worse. As organizations scramble to recover, cybercriminals seize the opportunity to strike. Experts have spotted an increase in phishing emails trying to take advantage of the situation. In this video, we will discuss how cybercriminals are now exploiting this situation, potentially turning a bad situation into a catastrophic one. So, let's get started. Our story begins on July 19th, 2024, at precisely 4:09 UTC. It was a time when most of us were sleeping soundly, unaware that a digital storm was about to break. CrowdStrike, a cybersecurity giant valued at over $70 billion, pushed out what seemed like a routine sensor configuration update to its Falcon platform for Windows devices. This platform, used by thousands of organizations worldwide, is designed to detect and prevent cyber threats. Little did anyone know that this update would itself become a threat of unprecedented proportions. Within minutes, reports started flooding in. Computers were crashing, displaying the dreaded blue screen of death. But this wasn't isolated to a few machines or even a single organization. The problem was global, affecting millions of devices across various industries. The scale of the disruption was staggering. Microsoft, which worked closely with CrowdStrike to address the issue, later revealed that approximately 8.5 million Windows devices were affected. While this represents less than 1% of all Windows machines globally, the impact was far-reaching due to the critical nature of many affected systems. But what exactly went wrong? The culprit was a logic error in the update that triggered a catastrophic failure in Windows devices running Falcon Sensor version 7.11 and above. In essence, a small flaw in the code caused these devices to become completely inoperable, displaying only a blue screen with an error message. CrowdStrike, a company whose very purpose is to protect against cyber threats, had inadvertently become the source of one of the most disruptive cyber events in history. To their credit, CrowdStrike acted swiftly once the problem was identified. By 5:27 UTC, just 78 minutes after the problematic update was released, they had halted its distribution. However, the damage was already done. Millions of devices were down, and organizations worldwide were left scrambling to recover. The immediate aftermath was chaos. IT teams across the globe worked frantically to isolate affected systems and prevent further spread. CrowdStrike quickly released guidance on how to recover impacted devices, but the process was far from simple. Many organizations found themselves in a catch-22 situation. They needed to update their systems to fix the issue, but the very act of updating had caused a problem in the first place. Cybercriminals saw the chaos as a golden opportunity. They quickly mobilized to exploit the situation, launching a series of attacks that added a new layer of danger to an already precarious situation. Within hours of the CrowdStrike incident, threat actors began launching sophisticated phishing campaigns. They created fake websites impersonating CrowdStrike, offering hot fixes and patches that were actually malware in disguise. The first signs of these malicious activities came to light when cybersecurity researchers observed an alarming increase in phishing attempts. These weren't your run-of-the-mill phishing emails. Instead, they were sophisticated campaigns specifically designed to exploit the confusion and desperation caused by the CrowdStrike incident. One particularly insidious attack involved the distribution of a zip file named crowdstrike-hotfix.zip. At first glance, this seemed like a legitimate fix for the ongoing issues. The file even included a text document with instructions in Spanish, indicating the attackers were targeting organizations in Latin America. But this was far from a helpful update. Hidden within this Trojan horse was a nasty surprise: a malware loader known as a hijack loader. It's also known as DOI loader or IDAT loader, a sophisticated piece of malware designed to evade detection. Its primary purpose is to act as a gateway, allowing attackers to deploy additional malicious payloads onto compromised systems. In this case, the payload of choice was Remcos RAT, a remote access Trojan that gives attackers full control over affected machines. When an unsuspecting user, desperate for a fix to their CrowdStrike-related issues, runs the setup.exe file from the zip archive, there unknowingly setting off a chain of events. The hijack loader is activated through a technique called DLL search order hijacking, a method that exploits the way Windows searches for required DLLs when launching an application. Once active, the hijack loader reaches out to a command and control server, in this case located at the IP address 213.5.130.58 on port 443. This server, controlled by the attackers then, instructs the loader to download and execute the Remcos RAT. With Remcos installed, the attackers gain a foothold in the organization's network, potentially accessing sensitive data, spreading to other systems, or even launching ransomware attacks. But the Remcos RAT wasn't the only threat lurking in the shadows. Security researchers also identified another malicious campaign masquerading as a CrowdStrike update. This one, however, had an even more destructive payload, a data wiper. Unlike ransomware, which encrypts file and demands payment for their release, a data wiper's sole purpose is destruction. It overwrites files with zeros, effectively destroying all data on the infected system. But here's the thing. This isn't the first time we've seen hijack loader in action. In fact, just a month before the CrowdStrike incident, security researchers uncovered a series of campaigns using this very same malware. In June 2024, cybersecurity firm Trellix reported on a devious scheme where threat actors were distributing free or pirated versions of commercial software. But these were just harmless copies. They were Trojan horses, carrying hijack loader as their payload. One particularly sneaky campaign involved the Trojanized version of the Cisco WebEx Meetings app. Victims would download what they thought was a legitimate application, only to unknowingly invite hijack loader onto their systems. This malware would then deploy an information stealer known as Vidar Stealer, capable of siphoning off sensitive data like login credentials and financial information. What makes these attacks so dangerous is their use of sophisticated techniques to evade detection. For instance, the malware uses DLL side loading to stealthily launch hijack loader. It even goes as far as adding itself to the Windows Defender exclusion list, essentially telling the system's built-in antivirus to look the other way. But it doesn't stop there. Other campaigns use similar tactics with different payloads. Some deploy cryptocurrency miners, turning victims' computers into profit-generating machines for the attackers. Others installed remote access tools, giving hackers a backdoor into infected systems. The market's reaction to this incident was swift and severe. CrowdStrike stock, with trades under the ticker CRWD, took a massive hit. To put this into perspective, on July 18th, just a day before the incident, CrowdStrike stock was trading at $345.10 per share. The next day, as news of the update fiasco spread, the stock plummeted to $294.52. That's a drop of more than 14% in a single day. But the bleeding didn't stop there. Over the next 5 days, the company stock continued to tumble, ultimately experiencing a staggering 66% decline. As of the latest data available, CRWD stock price sits at approximately $304.96 per share. This represents a significant loss of market value for CrowdStrike. We're talking billions of dollars wiped off the company's market capitalization in less than a week. It's a stark reminder of how quickly investor sentiment can change in the face of a major incident like this. What makes this decline even more dramatic is the contrast with CrowdStrike's recent performance. From fiscal 2019 to fiscal 2024, the company had been on an impressive growth trajectory. Its revenue rose at a compound annual growth rate of 65%, reaching $3.6 billion in fiscal 2024. This growth had made CrowdStrike a darling of tech investors. But as we have seen, even the most successful companies aren't immune to the fallout from major technical failures. The true test for CrowdStrike will be how they handle the aftermath of this incident and whether they can regain customer trust. Speaking of trust, let's hear from a cybersecurity expert on this matter. Gaurav Kirthi, a respected figure in the field, shared some insightful thoughts on the incident. Kirthi acknowledged the gravity of the situation, noting that the cascading IT outage will likely lead to numerous stories and potentially many lawsuits. However, Kirthi also offered some practical advice for those affected. He stressed the importance of following CrowdStrike's suggested steps to fix the problem, even though it might take time. This aligns with what we discussed earlier about the need for careful, methodical approaches to recovery rather than hasty reactions. Interestingly, Kirthi warned against the temptation to simply turn off CrowdStrike software out of anger or distrust. He pointed out a crucial fact. Doing so could expose systems to an even worse threat: hackers. This underscores a key point we have been discussing. Even in the wake of this incident, the threat landscape remains dangerous, and organizations need to maintain their defenses. Perhaps most importantly, Kirthi emphasized the concept of resilience. This aligns perfectly with what we've been discussing about the need for robust, multi-layered security approaches. Kirthi argues that resilience comes from preparation, understanding, and redesigning processes and systems to bounce back faster from incidents. This situation perfectly encapsulates the challenges and contradictions in the cybersecurity world. It shows how even industry leaders can stumble, the speed at which the market reacts to such stumbles, and the delicate balance organizations must strike between security, functionality, and trust. Have you been affected by the CrowdStrike incident? What steps are you taking to protect yourself? Share your insights in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.